All right, guys, so welcome to another episode of our Whiteboard Talk here, and I really appreciate you jumping on. Again, this content, we know it's helping people. We're excited. Like, subscribe, share, but I'm going to take about 10 minutes of your time and my time to explain something to you that I think will benefit your business. And the thing for me is, somebody asked me the other day, how did you get to be so knowledgeable about, like we were talking about real estate, and we're talking about it for hours. And life insurance, just business. And I was like, dude, I learned to ask questions. All right? I tell y'all I can't write where you can read it, but that says ask questions. And my board will bounce, so I don't know what's going on with this thing, but I'm over here. You have to learn to ask good questions. Now, this will sound rudimentary, but please stay with me. I have people all the time that go, Sean, I have a question for you. And I'm like, all right, I'm prepared to answer it. And they tell me their life story. And I love you, I want to help, but I can't get to the question. Or they go like, hey, I got a question for you. So one time and they go on a diatribe for 12 minutes about a situation in their business, and they never ask a question. When I'm asking questions, it's who, what, when, like I literally go like, dude, that's not a question. Now, I'm going to help you ask questions. What are great questions to ask? I can go over here. Drew, you're good? Okay, any business you're in, right? So you ask people, number one mistake you made. So you tell anybody, you ask them, what's the number one mistake you made building this business? I like to start there because it gives me transparency. People that struggle with pointing out mistakes they've made and or sharing the information, I don't really want to ask a lot of questions because they're not going to tell me the truth. So that's a great way for me to test them. I go, hey man, you built an amazing business. Be complimentary. What's the number one mistake you made building it? And you'd be surprised that some people think they've never made a mistake. They can't even give you a mistake. And you're like, all right, cool. Because anything else you ask them, you've already measured that, right? Number two, if you were me, if you were me, what is best advice you have? Now, why is that important? Because my situation is different than yours. When I got into real estate, I asked this guy, Frank, because he knew my situation. He knew what I had for cash, what I didn't have for cash, what my goals were, and then he could give me the best advice for me. Now, what I hope somebody says when I ask them that is, can you tell me more about your situation? So I had a guy ask me the other day, what's the best advice for me getting started as a real estate investor? I said, okay, how much capital do you have? What are your goals? Is this going to be passive or active, like time for you? Like, walk me through that so I understand how many hours you can put in, what kind of money you got, and what you want to accomplish. Because then you can get good advice for you. And by the way, then you make a connection with the person giving you advice. Because your goal when asking questions is not just to get answers to those questions, is to build relationships that may continue where you can ask more questions, you can be mentored, you can put yourself in a position to win. So understanding that when you ask that question, you'll be able to give some background. Because a lot of you want to give the background here. No, dude, number one mistake you made. They'll tell you, hey, if you were me, then they're forced to ask you about you. Ding, ding, ding. Now you get to give them information about you. And now you start to build a relationship. Hey man, I'm this age, I'm done this, here's what I got, here's what I don't have. And also what I'm trying to figure out if I'm trying to mentor somebody is, can they give me their situation in 30 seconds? I was 36 at life insurance business. I drove 12 hours to a meeting. There was about 10 of us there. They all quit pretty quickly thereafter. I did not, obviously. And there was a guy there and he said, I asked him this. And he said, can you tell me a little bit about your situation? At the time I said, yep, I'm 36. I'm in a place where I've made some money. I want to make more. I can minimally put 40 hours into this. And I probably have liquid a couple hundred. Like I walked him through my money, my time, all of that. Then we got to know each other. And the guy was still mentoring me for a year or two or three. Then I built a much bigger business than he ever built, which is cool. And then I went and found new mentors, right? The next thing that's a struggle for people is you have to figure out what is important to you. So I'm not going to write all these down, but because I can't keep up with myself, right? If you were me, what's the best piece of advice you have? So let's say it's sales. What has been the biggest piece of advice you've given to people in your organization that's allowed them to make more sales? How do you help people understand the power of investing in their business? How do you get them to understand how they need to invest in their business? How do you get people to believe in themselves? How can I believe in myself? How do I navigate if the people around me are not positive? They don't believe in me. They don't support what I'm doing. How do I navigate that? So you got to continue to, and I can ask questions all day long. You know, if you have experience, if you don't, hey, I don't have any experience in sales. How do you deal when people say, I wouldn't be good in sales? What's a good response? For people that have been in sales before, what's a good way to help them? How do you continue to move when you start doing better and you're making money? You're used to living check to check, you start making money. How do you get people to not be complacent? How do you work with people you know? How do you work with friends and family that come into your business, and how do you talk to them about business and be there for them, aside from, you know, they're your family, they're your friends. How do you do that? How do you navigate that, right? When do I hire my first staff member? When do I get my first office? Should I be incorporated? Should I not? What do I need a good attorney, accountant, taxes? I can ask you questions all day long. When I got into the distribution end of it, launched my own company, I started finding people who had distribution. What were the biggest pitfalls on your way to your first $100 million? How many staff members did you have when you all were doing $50 million a year? How did you handle lead distribution? How did you handle the marketing side? Technologically, like, what was one of the biggest things? What CRM do you use? How do you maintain that? What kind of costs are associated with that? What do you do for executives? How do you learn to delegate? You understand what I'm saying? But I can do this all day long because I'm thinking about my business. And when people ask me questions, I ask them a lot of questions. And I do this all the time when I meet with them, especially when they interview me, because I want to know if they're thinking too. So last me, I had a guy the other day said, hey, in sales, what's the best piece of advice that you got to get people selling? I said, what do you think is the number one thing that holds them back? Super sharp kid. And he said, believe in themselves. I said 100%. But I'm testing too, because I'm trying to figure out how much time I want to spend working there, right? What do I want to do? Am I going to spend time working with this guy? Because I want to test him too, so I can figure out if he's thinking as well, or if he's just asking me questions. This is a thinking man and thinking woman's game, businesses. It's chess, not checkers. The guy or girl that asks the most questions wins. I taught my kids my daughter will still do it. We had this game, we called the question game. You had to answer a question with a question, no matter what it was. What time do you want to eat? What are you thinking about? What would you like to eat? What was the last thing you ate? When was the last time? And I can do it all. I can do it for 10. I'll never stop. And then whoever can't answer something with a question loses, because you need to learn that technique in sales as well. You have to become literally the best question asker there is. Questions. The quality of questions you ask will dictate your quality of your business life. I could draw out thousands of questions for you. You need to start taking things down. When I go to meetings with people, I draw it out. All things I was talking about. EBITDA, net income, accounting. I had all that drawn out. In the chance that I was going to meet somebody who knew about my business. Also this, and I'll leave you with this piece of advice. You're going to go to meetings. And whether it's going to be a speaker, be somebody you work with, a peer, a vendor, and they're going to say, do you have any questions? And the room is going to go, this is what's going to happen. People, when I do it, I'll do it in front of 100 people, in front of 12,000. Don't matter to me. I'll answer it. And immediately, the people either look at you and stop making eye contact, like, please don't look at me again, or they do this because they want to know. What I'm always looking for in that group is the first guy or girl. It's like, I had a question. Like, they don't look sideways. They have a question. And it's a good question, because to have a dumb question is like, like I was at a meeting one day, about 3,000 people. The guy's like, yeah, I got one, first one. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? And I go, you all see what he did, right? You see it did, right? He's an ass, honestly. And I'm not going to yell and scream at it. And of course, he's crawling on his seat. He's an ass, not serious about his business. He wanted some time. He got 12 seconds. He asked me a really stupid, pathetic question because he's hoping you don't pay attention to your business like he doesn't. He wants you, who's on his team? I'm like, okay, find a new team. because he's a clown. He's a child. He's probably 35 years old. He's a child. Hey, by the way, I didn't bother him. I don't bully nobody, but don't start bullying me. I'll smack, don't do that. So I go on and on and on and on and on and on. And 2 days later he quits, which I knew he would. But my point is, you have to get control of be nice until there's a time to not be nice. You don't have to put up with that. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? I don't know. Broke ass. Who cares? Now, if you go, I'm a professional gambler, well, good. You tell me who thinks will win the Super Bowl. And if you've done really well, maybe I'll put a bunch of money on it. But you want to win in business, you go and be intentional. You be brave. You don't worry about what everybody else thinks. And you be on the biggest quest to find information about your business and your life and your success based on asking good questions. And then the men and women that work there will never forget that. And when they want to work with somebody or provide an unfair advantage, i.e. here's the leads, here's this, here's that, they're going to go back to the men and women that are focused on their business and not concerned about everybody else's opinion. They don't think it's a joke, that they're very serious about it. And when you talk to people, I work with a lot of guys that, whereas professional baseball, the NFL league, overwhelmingly what they'll tell me is when they finally get into the big leagues, they're not in the practice squad anymore, they're playing in the NFL, that what they hear from people, other players, is like, hey dude, now your performance affects me and my family. And you might be a rookie with no kids. I got 3 kids and a wife. And my mom too. Don't F this up for me. This is so if you ain't doing your job, that affects all of us too. And this is how we eat and take care of our families. I feel the same way about my business. I don't want some jackass popping off the mouth being stupid. Just like they don't want some guy not doing his job. Treat your business like a business. You treat it with respect, it will respect you back. You disrespect your business, it will treat you so. So ask great questions. Don't worry about what people think. Be prepared. Think about your business. And when you have the opportunity to scale it, you'll scale it based on the question you ask. By the way, in sales, you're good at answering questions with a question. Whoever asks the most questions wins. You're in control. You're in control of the environment. You're in control of the decision. When you go to a meeting, watch people that are good at asking questions. They're usually pretty damn successful people in your organization. So follow suit. Think about your business. Write down 10 questions you'd ask somebody that's great at your business about your business. And then go ask them and go, are these good questions or not? And then when you go to a meeting, start asking those questions. Go online, find people, hit them up. Find me on Minnect. Ask me a question on Minnect, the app. Download it, Minnect. Download it. I'll answer your question for you. I hope you like this. This is stuff that helps you build a business. I've seen it help people. I've seen people not do it. I've seen them not succeed. And I'm trying to help you avoid their number one mistake, which was not asking for help, not being prepared, not asking appropriate questions. Please like, subscribe, share. Thanks for your support today. If you like this video, I'm going to drop a link to another one. You'll love the next video. And thanks for jumping on our whiteboard talk tonight.